when female cops get sued. Hang on to your seats as we reveal a shocking twist in the story of a female cop whose actions led to a legal battle that would change everything. In a thrilling turn of events, this courageous officer found herself facing a lawsuit that sent shockwaves through the law enforcement community. From shocking body cam footage revealing the disturbing taunting of an elderly woman by an off-duty female officer to a viral TikTok video boasting about power and privilege, these incidents have ignited public outrage and put law enforcement practices under scrutiny. Watch out for these cases where the female cops got sued. The release of body cam footage depicting an off-duty female officer from the Tulsa Police Department taunting an elderly woman during a mental health crisis has sparked shock and outrage among the public. The incident unfolded when a 70-year-old woman named LaDonna Paris locked herself in a restroom at a Habitat for Humanity restore and refused to come out for 4 hours.
Hey, LaDonna, open the door.
As the employees of the store attempted to persuade Paris to unlock the door, they called the police for assistance.
To say tell her to leave. She said she'll leave if she hears Christy. She barely knows who the manager is, which that's...
When the officers arrived, they engaged in a dialogue with Paris, urging her to open the door.
LaDonna, listen.
LaDonna, I need you to leave the building and I need you to not come back, please. Thank you.
However, instead of handling the situation with empathy and understanding, the female officer in question resorting to mocking Paris's mental distress and making threats. The officer repeatedly tried to coax Paris into opening the door, but her approach was far from appropriate.
You want to get tased?
She used derogatory language, laughed at Paris's fear of the taser, and even made statements indicating that she found the situation amusing. The behavior is not only unprofessional, but also deeply concerning, especially considering the vulnerability of the person involved. Throughout the interaction, the officer failed to show any empathy or understanding toward Paris's mental health crisis. Instead, she resorted to intimidation tactics, using the threat of the taser as a means to coerce Paris into compliance. The release of the video has made several people angry, and the officer who was responsible was being sued. The Tulsa Police Department said the officer's jokes were not appropriate and that the problem has been fixed. But the incident brings up bigger questions about how law enforcement organizations are trained and who's responsible for how they handle people and mental health crises.
Seeing Paris's noncompliance, Ronnie decided to call a third officer and arrest her with force. Finally, another officer was called, and the cops decided to open the bathroom door with force and secure Paris.
Following the taunting incident by the off-duty female officer, the elderly woman, LaDonna Paris, was eventually arrested using force. During the arrest, Paris suffered an injury to her face as she hit the bathroom floor. Subsequently, she was handcuffed and spent an entire month in jail before all charges against her were ultimately dismissed.
The cops finally noticed that Paris had a dog locked in her car for more than 4 hours. They secured the car's keys and opened the door while Ronnie threatened Paris that her dog was going to the animal shelter. To treat Paris's injury, EMSA was called, who told the cops that the reason behind Paris's abnormal behavior was that she was bipolar and was having a manic episode.
The fact that Paris endured such an extended period of incarceration and faced legal consequences of the incident adds another layer of concern to the already distressing situation. The dismissal of all charges indicates that the initial arrest and the subsequent legal proceedings against Paris were without merit. The bad things that happened to her, like getting hurt and being wrongfully jailed, show how important it is to have a fair and just legal system that protects people's rights and makes sure that harmless people are not wrongfully punished. Many people were angry and upset when a body cam video of a female Tulsa Police Department officer making fun of an older woman while she was off duty became public. Because of how upsetting the event was, people were upset and worried about what the cop did, and the department got a lot of bad press. In response to the incident, a lawsuit was filed against the officer involved, seeking legal recourse for the inappropriate and unprofessional actions displayed during the interaction with the elderly woman. The lawsuit reflects the public's demand for accountability and justice in cases where law enforcement officers abuse their power and mistreat individuals in vulnerable situations.
Number 2. Female officer gets suspended due to her TikTok. This is Brianna Strauss, a Washington Federal Way Police Department officer. Strauss was met with wide public outrage and anger after she uploaded a TikTok video.
She feels this way about zipping up and down the damn highway.
In the video, Strauss was seen claiming that she was not only speaking for herself, but for the larger majority of the officers out there. If we're driving on the freeway with our police cars, get the F out of the way, Strauss said.
We're driving on the freeway in our police car. Get the out of the way. Get the out of the way.
In another case, a female officer from the Washington Federal Way Police Department faced a wave of public outrage and subsequent suspension after uploading a TikTok video in which she boasted about the power and privilege associated with her position as a police officer. The video quickly got so popular and was criticized by a large number of people.
The most outrageous part of the short video was Strauss's telling that if the cops stay behind any longer, they can find a reason to pull citizens over.
If us officers stay behind you long enough, we can find a reason to pull you over.
Soon after uploading the video, it went viral and triggered a lot of anger among the citizens. It also raised the question if the cop had the audacity to say this while recording herself and then posting the video on the internet. Imagine what she could do if there is no recording. Shortly after getting angry comments on her video, Strauss deleted it. However, it was too late. The video had already been shared on various social media platforms, which finally forced the police department to take action.
In the video, the officer brazenly asserted her authority, stating that while driving in her police car, other drivers should get the F out of the way, and that she could drive at high speeds while others could not. She went on to insinuate that police officers could find reasons to pull over citizens if they stayed behind them for long enough.
3. A female cop gets sued for using excessive force. After having complaints of shortness of breath and chest pain, Jonathan Ellish was rushed to Park Ridge Hospital in East Ridge. Seeing Ellish's medical condition, a doctor advised him to be admitted due to intoxication, depression, and verbalized suicidal thoughts. Ellish, however, refused the doctor's advice and decided to leave the hospital after receiving brief treatment. While Ellish was headed home, he encountered 3 ERPD officers on Spring Creek Road. The cops' names were Officer Roy Stacker, Officer Davis, and Officer Anna Simmons. The police officers detained Ellish, telling him that he had a certificate of need, which prevented him from leaving the hospital. However, Ellish insisted on heading home.
Well, I'm going home.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
After a brief debate between Ellish and the police officers, Officer Roychester grabbed Ellish's arm and handcuffed him. Seeing her colleague's actions, Officer Simmons also grabbed the suspect. As if that was not enough, Officer Davis grabbed Ellish in a bear hug and slammed him onto the road. Officer Davis's slamming of the suspect resulted in further injuries to Ellish, who was already struggling with health problems. The jagged rocks on the road tore his nostril. This brutal takedown also caused Ellish's drip needle to be removed, which resulted in him bleeding even more. But injuring Ellish didn't seem enough to the officers as they proceeded to threaten him with a taser continuously. Not only that, the officers even gave him conflicted commands of "get on your stomach," while they put their whole weight on Ellish's back.
I'm gonna tase you if you don't put your hands behind your back. Do it now.
Although the suspect kept asking the officers to ease the cuffs, they didn't pay much attention to his injuries.
Oh, God, it hurts.
Well, that's as
Turn your
good as it
wrist.
gets.
The cops even kept insulting Ellish, with Officer Anna Simmons calling him a silly goose.
I can't.
After detaining Ellish for nearly an hour, the officers finally uncuffed him and brought him back to the Park Ridge Hospital, where Ellish was admitted. Following the incident, Ellish filed a lawsuit against the 3 officers involved in his arrest and the city of East Ridge. According to his attorney, Robin Flores, the ERPD officers committed the following violations.
That's all for today's video, but we'll be back with more soon. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.